So, quadrillion dollars. You said you're going to do a video running down the math. It's probably coming out by the time this is posted. Quadrillion dollars. Let's see, 20 million Bitcoin. That's just under $50 million a coin, right?
It's
US?
$47 million, yeah.
$47 million per Bitcoin. Okay.
My
So why do you
lifetime.
in your lifetime? So break down the math, break down the logic. I'm sure people would love to hear why you think that's the case, right? And now this is your opinion. This is beyond the BlackRock. It's everything that you've been talking about. This is beyond that, or you're saying that it's in line with that still?
It's in line with everything.
Okay, great.
Everything is
So
in line with everything.
great. All right. So break that down for us.
Yeah. So firstly, I want to start off by saying that I know this is going to sound insane. Okay. For the average person that's watching this, it's going to sound absolutely crazy. But here's my thinking behind it. I think Bitcoin is at least three times better than real estate. Right? Three times better than real estate. Bitcoin is infinitely more scalable than real estate because I can have a billion people in it. I can't have a billion people in real estate. It is infinitely more accessible. Whether you are a multi-billionaire or whether you are a person on the street, you can get access to Bitcoin. Um, it serves as potentially the best long-term and speculative asset because I can hold it for the long term and I can speculate on the short term of Bitcoin. And there's no uh, drawbacks to doing either or. So if I want to satisfy my speculative agendas, I can do that. If I want to hold them for the long term and have it as a long term hold, I can do that. Whereas it's similar to real estate where you can buy real estate, hold it for the long term capital growth, or you can do short term flips with real estate. But I think Bitcoin is better and easier and more accessible for everyone in the world. It has very, very limited counterparty risk compared to real estate for institutional investment because with real estate, you got to worry about tenants, you got to worry about mortgage brokers, you got to worry about your financiers, you got to worry about your lawyers, you got to worry about the management agent that's actually taking care of the property. You got to worry about, the guy who's fixing the drain down the road just in case he causes a block up in your property, et cetera, et cetera. There's just a lot less counterparty risk from an institutional perspective. It serves as a great asset to build derivatives products on because you can have instant delivery of the asset. You don't need to go through legal proceedings in order to get that. You can build a derivative product on Bitcoin, and it serves as a better underlying collateral than real estate. And finally, I think all of this combined, the international accessibility of it, the flexibility of it, the ability for Bitcoin to be everywhere and nowhere at the exact same time, the fact that it is reliable of a network in order to build something on, I think it is worth three times more than real estate. And real estate is currently worth $330 trillion. Just three times more than that, you've hit your quadrillion dollars. So I know it sounds insane at the moment, but factor in everything I've said, the fact that once an institution understands that they can own Bitcoin and finance it anywhere in the world, rather than just, for example, if you own $1 billion of real estate in New York, you're typically going to be dealing with either with one of the major national banks or one of the significant local banks in and around New York that has the assets and the team on the ground in order to assess the deal and finance it. Whereas if you know that you can put $1 billion into Bitcoin, make one call to JP Morgan, say, I want financing against this Bitcoin, and they give you a quotation of 5% to borrow against it. You can call a bank in Singapore and say, hey, JP Morgan's quoted me 5%. What are you quoting me? And they'll say 4%. Then you call a bank in London and they'll say, no, we really want the business. We'll give you 3%. What you've really done is, and by the way, they don't need a team anywhere in the world. All they need is someone to look at the blockchain and go, is this real? Right? That's the only analysis that you need to do against it. As long as you can sign a transaction, you own that Bitcoin. Yeah, I think it becomes the pristine collateral, as Raoul Pal has called it, over in my lifetime, and therefore it becomes three times better than real estate.
I'm glad that you're taking the time to learn about Bitcoin, learn about Bitcoin's potential future value, both in terms of political currency units and on society as a whole. And I'm really glad that you're taking the effort to study and educate yourself about Bitcoin. However, I must make this message incredibly clear. If you are learning about Bitcoin, you must begin also learning about self-custody and taking possession of your own keys. This is really, really important. You can watch as many YouTube videos as you want talking about how Bitcoin is going to skyrocket in fiat price and how the number is going to go up. You can talk about that all you want. You can daydream about this kind of vertical spike action for Bitcoin. You can daydream about this all you want. But my encouragement to you is that this is not a meme. This is not something to be taken lightly. We can think that this is a good thing, and it is a good thing ultimately for Bitcoin's long-term adoption, but this is real. Okay, this really happens in countries. It may not happen in your country for some time. It may happen in a stair-step fashion, but this is not a meme. This is not a joke. And so, therefore, you need to take self-custody really, really seriously. Okay. I work full time in self-custody solutions for people. I help people set up their multi-sig vaults. I help people set up their estate plans. I help people with a collaborative custody partnership and collaborative custody models. Okay. This is a chart of the amount of interest we have at the Bitcoin Advisor, the company I work at. Okay. This is not me personally. This is the whole company. We've been in business 7 years. Not a single client of ours has ever lost a single sat. Okay. We have a good number of clients, and this is our demand. My point in showing you this chart, my point in showing you this message right now is that it is increasingly urgent, increasingly important that you begin taking self-custody very seriously. I'm telling you, I'm on the inside of this all day, every day, 6 days a week, and demand for self-custody is skyrocketing. Okay. The kinds of clients we have, the number of clients we have, the conviction in the clients we have, it is only going up. Okay. And people are booking meetings with me weeks, okay, in advance. In some cases, over a month in advance. And we are in bear market. Okay. This chart right here is from October 2023. Okay. Bear, like incredible low interest globally in Bitcoin. And our demand is still skyrocketing, it's still spiking. And my encouragement is that if we have a bull run, if we have parabolic spikes such as this, where Bitcoin goes rapidly upwards in terms of price, if we have these periods of time, okay, transaction fees are going to spike. Okay, exchanges are going to halt withdrawals. Okay, people are going to panic. They're going to smash by any price. Okay, it's going to be increasingly difficult to have any time with people to help you in your self-custody setups. So, first and foremost, whatever you do, whether you work with me at the Bitcoin Advisor, whether you go somewhere else, whether you figure it out on your own, whatever the case, please start figuring out self-custody. Hot wallets, cold wallets, hot wallets, cold wallets, single sig, multi sig, whatever you do, just start figuring it out now, because I'm increasingly alarmed by the number of Bitcoiners that do not have self-custody. So please, if you have any Bitcoin self-custody, but especially if you have a large amount of Bitcoin in self-custody, please start taking this stuff seriously, because it's only going to be increasingly important in the future. And so, if you'd like to work with me, if you'd like to hear my opinions, perspectives, and ideas on this topic, you can find me at the Bitcoin Advisor. This is precisely why I work at the Bitcoin Advisor, because I believe this is such an important topic here. Okay. You can find me there. You can have expert guidance on how to self-custody Bitcoin, to buy, secure, and store it properly for the long term. We can have tailored strategies for you, what your long-term vision is, both for yourself, your own individual future, your retirement, and for your future generations as well. Again, multi-sig vaults, estate plans, all these things for you. Okay. You can just book a free meeting with me here, and the link down below in the description. Again, the first consultation is completely free, where we can talk about your priorities and see if there's a value add both for you and for the Bitcoin Advisor as well. And again, our goal is to help you have generational wealth for you and your loved ones and your children without losing sleep. Okay. And that's why not only do you get a free initial consultation, but you have dozens and dozens of pages of education about multi-sig, self-custody, how to store your Bitcoin properly, things to avoid, things to pursue. Okay. Again, dozens and dozens of pages of free education for you to be learning about this increasingly important, increasingly urgent topic. Okay. And then you can learn further about the Bitcoin Advisor, and why we provide much more value for half the cost of our competitors. You can learn about all this and more in that link in the description, where you can book a free consultation with me at the Bitcoin Advisor. So again, whatever you do, whether you work with me at the Bitcoin Advisor or you try to figure out on your own, please just start taking action now. Because in a couple of years, higher and higher net worth people are going to be entering the space and demanding self-custody. Okay, more and more companies, more and more charities, more and more pension funds, more and more churches, all these things, all these groups of people, all these entities are going to be coming into Bitcoin very quickly, and they'll be willing to pay the transaction fees. They'll be willing to pay whatever fiat price and get for their sats. They'll be willing to do the self-custody as fast as possible. And so my encouragement to you, again, I'm glad you're enjoying these videos. I really appreciate you subscribing and commenting and being a part of these videos and increasing your Bitcoin education. But please, please, please do not stop at the end of this video. Immediately after you watch the end of this video, please start taking your self-custody seriously, whether that's with me at the Bitcoin Advisor, again, link in description, or it's on your own. Whatever the case, please just do it. Thank you. I love your point about how it satisfies that long-term urge and the short-term urge. Bitcoin is a long term, lasts a lot longer than a house, right? If a house lasts 50, 80 years, Bitcoin lasts well beyond that because it's just numbers.
And what's the
Short
cost
term,
to carry?
yeah, yeah,
It's the cost to carry,
exactly. Even
right?
more so. Yeah, yeah. Shrinks it down even more so.
Yeah.
Um, I agree with what you're saying, of course. The market cap should be theoretically 3 times more than real estate, and that's in terms of today's dollars. Obviously, the printed dollars will be even higher than that. I think the counterpoint to that, what would you just say to someone that says, okay, you can make that up, but ultimately everyone needs a place to live. Why is a made up number, like, okay, sure, cost of capital, okay, sure, market cap, sure, it's more investable, but the need for housing is greater, let's say. What would be your counter to that criticism?
I agree. Everyone needs a place to live. That's why we should significantly lower the price of real estate to give everybody a place to live. And we should use, if we should not collateralize real estate, right? Which is what we've done. We've added a monetary premium onto real estate in order to turn it into a financial asset when it should be a utility. Because I agree, everyone in the world should have a roof over their head, and we have the technology today to give everyone in the world a roof over their head, but we're not allowed to bring it out there because we would ruin the financial value of the asset of this behemoth asset that we've created. And real estate is a behemoth asset because it allows governments to control the value of their wealth within their borders, because you can't just pick up real estate and be gone. So Bitcoin taking the monetary premium out of real estate actually is good for the world. Now, do I think that's going to happen? Probably not. But it is good for the world if the monetary premium of real estate is drained and all of that is put into Bitcoin, because then Bitcoin is infinitely scalable, movable all around the world. And then you can go back to allowing people to actually live a happy life and put a roof over their heads and their children's heads.
Yeah, I fully agree. That this whole reasoning, again, that gets back to the optimist versus pessimistic worldview, that if we want real estate, it's like, yeah, sure, okay, you could say real estate's more valuable because everyone needs to live in it. But it's like, my perspective would be oxygen is even more valuable, right? Without housing, you die in 6 months when winter comes. Without oxygen, you die in 3 minutes, right? And so it's like there's no monetary premium to oxygen. There's no monetary premium to water, or at least maybe slightly more than oxygen. But it's like we should want everyone to have housing. We should want the premium to be drained. We should want Bitcoin's market cap to far and away exceed real estate. And so,
in
okay,
essence, and this is my same argument with shitcoins. It's like anything that has a utility attached to it, based on normal capital markets and capitalism, the price of it should be trending towards zero, because the more people that use it, the more people that utilize it, the more economies of scale you should be able to get on printing it. The only reason the value of properties goes up, it's because it's a financialized asset. It is more than a utility. It is a store of value. And all I'm saying is, now that we have the best store of value, we should probably use that for its main purpose, and utilize and stop trying to, in essence, what you're doing is you're creating a Frankenstein asset, which is what real estate is. It's a Frankenstein asset because it should be a utility. It's a house, right? But we've turned it into a financial asset in order to store the inflation somewhere.